बृहस्पते प्रथमं वाचो अग्रं यत्प्रेरत नामधेयं दधानाः यदेषां श्रेष्ठं यत् अरिप्रणासीत् प्रेणातदेशं निहितं गुहाभिः। ॐ सक्तुमिवातितौ न पुनन्तो यत्र धीरा मनसा वाचमक्रत अत्रा सखायः सख्यानि जानते भद्रेषां लक्ष्मीर्निहिताधिवाची। Esteemed Vice Chancellor Sir of Sri Gangadhar Mehar University, respected Registrar Sir and Deputy Registrar Sir of Gangadhar Mehar University, respected Chairman of the PG Council and HOD of School of Sanskrit, Gangadhar Mehar University, my revered teacher and former Vice Chancellor of Sri Jagannath Sanskrit University, Professor Radha Madhav Das Sir, revered learned scholars and faculty members of Gangadhar Mehar University, learned scholars present in this webinar from various parts of India, the teacher-like scholars here present. I saw Dr. N.C. Panda sir, all the dear students of Gangadhar Mehar University and Sri Jagannath Sanskrit University. It's a proud privilege that Professor Mahapatra sir and Honorable Vice Chancellor sir of GMU have given me a chance to present something upon Chandogya Upanishad. Chandogya Upanishad was in our text at BHU when I was in my MA class. Later I have done my PhD about the Prana Vidya in Principal Upanishads. But I think before all the learned scholars and my teacher-like scholars, it's a test for me. Sir has blessed me that Paramba will tell, but it is your blessing, sir. Anything I am going to speak. My topic is I have concentrated upon the 7th chapter of Chandogya Upanishad and in a particular topic that is the progressive methods or the progressive meditation we can say for attaining the highest goal as depicted in Chandogya Upanishad. Chandogya Upanishad, I am excluding the introduction parts, there is no need. Upanishads have the peculiarity of teaching or advising or instructing in a dialogue form. Not only Upanishads, perhaps it is the ancient education system which could be found in many of the scriptures. The teaching of the Upanishads are about spiritual science, whereas all other texts are dealt with material sciences. The highest knowledge of a spiritual or metaphysical science is mostly discussed in the dialogue forms. Chandogya Upanishad is an older Upanishad since it's the part of Brahmana. Follows this two ways method of instruction for revelation of knowledge. There are two ways of instruction. The revelation of knowledge, there are 20 dialogues in Chandogya Upanishad. I am dealing with the Narada Sanat Kumara dialogue, which is there in the 7th chapter, and there are 26 khandas are there, or subparts are there. The 26 subparts describe the steps how to attain the highest goal, that is the supreme, that is the Brahman. But at a sudden, a person cannot attain the highest thing. He has to go a step by step, or gradually he has to reach or proceed towards the goal. The 7th chapter of the Chandogya Upanishad is a conversation between Sanat Kumara and Narada. Teach about the highest goal, but step by step. The highest truth or Brahma is infinite. So it is even difficult to describe it. It is just like pointing out the moon to a child through the branches of a tree. These steps of contemplation and meditation has been given in ascending manner from grossest to the subtler and subtlest. The steps to final cognition are mentioned in the ascending order. From the eulogies of the infinite Bhuma, for the eulogization of the infinite Bhuma, that is the end point of this chapter. The chapter starts with Nama. Nama means the mere names or the mere words. The reader may feel it is story, and it is the peculiarity of Upanishads which describe the mysterious philosophy in a very interesting manner. With all the knowledge about the Shastras, Narada was still dissatisfied and was in sorrowful state. He was wondering about his lacking of anything, and it was he was in a lack of Brahma Vidya or Atma Vidya. Here, Narada is the representative of an inquisitive truth seeker or a disciple, and Sanat Kumara is the representative of an able teacher. Narada approached the Sanat Kumara as a ordinary disciple. Before teaching a disciple, the teacher first tests his background or asks about his past education. So also Sanat Kumara did ask about the previous culture of Narada. Narada replied that he knows Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda. Likewise, there are 19 streams of knowledge. Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, the Atharva Veda, and Itihasa Purana, the 5th Veda. And then the Vedanam Veda means it is grammar, because through grammar only the Vedas could be known properly. And then the Pitrukalpa means Shraddha rituals related to the Antyeshti Kriya, and after that those Pitrukalpa, the science of numbers, that is mathematics, the science of prediction, that is Daivam, the science of time or chronology, that is Nidhi Shastra, the science of reasoning or logic, that is Vakuvakyam, the science of ethics, that is Aikayanam, the etymology or Nirukta, that is told here as Deva Vidya, the Vedic knowledge in shape of Siksha, Kalpa and Chandas, that is known as Brahma Vidya, because the word Brahma, in most of the Vedic texts, the word Brahma is the representative of a mantra or a yajna. Then the material science or physical science, that is Bhuta Vidya. Bhuta means all the beings, so it is Bhuta Vidya. The science of war, that is Kshatriya Vidya. The science of stars or astronomy, that is Nakshatra Vidya. The science of snakes or Garuda Vidya, Sarpa Vidya, it is mentioned here. The science of celestials, that is Devajana Vidya, means the performery, dancing, singing, instrumental music and fine arts, etc. all are named here as Devajana Vidya. Here the streams of knowledge are discussed. Later at the time of Smriti literature, it is told that there are Chaturdasa Vidyas are there. Purana Nyaya Mimamsa Dharma Shastranga Mishritaha Vedaha Sthanani Vidyanam Dharmasya Chaturdasa. In Yajnavalkya Siksha it is said like this, and all these these Vidyas are comprised into this Chaturdasa Vidya. Then Narada has expressed his knowledge about the external sound of the words. He was lacking about the internal knowledge. He was just saying about the external knowledge. He was lack of Atmajnana, and he admits in a line that yes, I don't have the knowledge about Atmajnana. About what about people like us, where Narada was in a state like this? All the external knowledge give us material happiness. Therefore, they are apara and or secondary knowledge, and the Brahma Vidya is the para vidya, as it is said in Mundaka Upanishad. That is De Vidye Veditavye iti hasma yad Brahma Vido vadanti paracheva aparacha tatra apara Rigvedaha, Yajurvedaha, Samavedaha, Atharva Vedaha. All the Vedas, all the Shastras are apara vidya or secondary knowledge. Only the Upanishad, the knowledge about Upanishad or the knowledge about Brahma Vidya as described by the Upanishads are para vidya. But we have to know both of the knowledges, because avidyaya mrutum tirtva vidyaya amrutamasnute, as it is said in the Isavasya Upanishad. The avidya or all these secondary knowledges are the means to attain the supreme knowledge, that is Brahma Vidya. Here the appeal of the Narada through Sanat Kumara has some similarity as it is described in the Bhrigu Varuni Sambada in Taittiriya Upanishad. It is there also, that is a progressive step. The progressive steps are described by the father of Varuna, Bhrigu, father of Bhrigu, how to attain the Brahma Vidya. Sanat Kumara means the eternal youth, the master of the supreme knowledge, said that whatever you have studied is the mere name, that is only the textual knowledge. So then the first step is name, that is Nama. Though mere name cannot be the end, still the sadhaka cannot deny the first step towards the end. So Sanat Kumara advises to meditate upon the name as the Brahman. Narada admits that he is only the mantravetta, knower of the verbal texts. It means he has the knowledge about ritualistic arts, as it is in a line of passage said in this Upanishad that namini mantraha ekam bhavanti mantreshu karmani. Mantras means only that those are the description of rituals. So that is only the names, mere names, and the actions, and there is no internal knowledge in these things. The insatiable inquisitiveness of Narada impels him to ask the next steps gradually, and Sanat Kumara has described the next step is, after name, it is speech, means Bak. Sanat Kumara replied that speech is greater than the name, because through speech only all the knowledge, Rigveda, etc. get revealed. All the five elements, earth, air, akasha, water, fire, the divine being, birds, cattle, trees, beasts, ants, virtue, vice, truth, false, good, bad, all these things are expressed through speech. So without speech all these things are meaningless, and people may unable to share their knowledge or their experience also. Therefore one must adore and revere speech as the manifestation of Brahman. Here speech stands for the organ of speech located in 8 places within the mouth cavity, which serve to manifest later sounds. Hence speech is said to be greater than name, as cause is greater than the effect. So who meditates and gets success by knowing the speech as Brahman, he becomes free to act as he wishes in the sphere of speech only. Therefore the sphere of speech is not the ultimate, so we have to go forward. Then the next step is mind. It is mana. Mind is more elevated than speech and name. Mana bhava vacho bhuyah mano hi atma mano hi loka mano hi brahma mana upashva iti. Mind is the antahakarana, or the internal organ, and it functions to reflect. When the mind performs the operation of the reflecting and then all the organs start to work. Without a mind, anybody cannot work anything or speak anything or do anything. As 2 badari fruits or anything, or 2 aksha fruits, or 2 amalaki fruits can be closed in the fist. So also mind holds both the speech and the name. Mind is more powerful than speech. Even mind is all powerful among the sense organs, because as mind wishes the organs act. Mind can liberate a man, or mind can put him in bondage, as it is rightly said in Maitrayani Upanishad, mana eva manushyanam karanam bandhamokshayoho. Therefore the eternal teacher Sanat Kumara advises to meditate upon the mind as the Brahman. But mind is not the ultimate, therefore we have to go further. Then the 4th step is the conception or sankalpaha. it is in some text by Hume. R.E. Hume has translated this Upanishad, all these 14 Upanishads, and he has translated it as the willpower. But the mind has the willpower, mind contains the willpower. But willpower is more important than mind, because the mind has the characteristics of sankalpa vikalpa. Either it gets a concept of anything, or it becomes confused. Conception is more than the mind, because when one forms a conception, then he has it in mind, then he utters speech or do any work or anything else. Then the nature of mind is either conception or confusion. All the sankalpa vikalpatmakam manaha, all the actions in the universe and the entire universe wills to attain and maintain its complete form. Thus, all the universe has its root in the will or conception. In Taittiriya Upanishad, Paramatman or Brahman wishes to create. Then this is that he concepts to become many. Ekoham bahushyam. Then in this same similar thing is the importance of will or importance of sankalpa is also depicted in Rigveda. From the, this is the oldest text we can say. It is described that before the creation, one very subtle, it's a very mysterious description in the Nasadiya Shukta. That is a very subtle existence of only one tattva, and that one tattva, he wishes to, that one tattva wishes to create. That is kamah tatagre samavartatadhi manaso retah prathamam jad asit. That is described in the commentaries as Sisrukhya. So the willpower to create, and that is the conception, or that is the sankalpa. Therefore, one should meditate upon this sankalpa or conception as Brahman. But this conception or sankalpa is not the ultimate. Therefore, we have to go forward. Then the fifth step is intelligence or chittam. Intelligence is greater than the willpower and conception. That without chittam bhava sankalpat bhuyah, it is told in this Upanishad, without understanding through intelligence, one cannot conceptualize anything. It is another antahakarana, the internal organ of the human being. Sometimes it is said that without intelligence, knowledge may not work. It is emergent, it is the origin, it is the resting place of everything. Therefore, one should meditate upon the intelligence as Brahman. But intelligence is also not Brahman or the ultimate. Therefore, we have to go further. That is, the sixth step is contemplation. That is dhanam. Meditation is more than the thought, or contemplation is greater than the intelligence. Contemplation stands for unshaken continuous series of conceptions of such objects as a deity or other other mentioned objects in the scriptures. Otherwise, it is known as dhyana, or the pinpointedness concentration is known as contemplation. And the people in yoga sadhana are wrapped with this contemplation. This greatness of contemplation is seen in its effects everywhere. Therefore, one should meditate upon contemplation as Brahman. But contemplation or meditation is not the ultimate. Then it is said that it is seventh step is consciousness. Somewhere it is translated as understanding, somewhere it is translated as learning, but it is bodha or a chetana or a vijnana. It is told as vijnana in the text. Learning or understanding happens to a concentrated conscious being. Consciousness is greater than the contemplation. Vijnanang bhava jnanad bhuyah. All the scriptures can be understood through consciousness. So the mere text is jnana, and but when one go deeps into it and realizes it, that is said vijnana. Here in this text, this is the difference between jnana and vijnana. But vijnana is not the ultimate. That is, we need for all these things we need strength. that may be physical strength, mental strength, all these things. Here the strength is greater than the understanding or vijnana. Here, because without the mental strength or without the when a physically one person is not sound, then how can he go through all this contemplation or all these sadhanas? Then strength is greater than the understanding. Here the strength stands for that capacity of the mind to apprehend things which one gains through food. Therefore, Kalidasa has said in Kumarasambhavam, Sarira Madhyam Khalu Dharma Sadhanam, it is about physical strength. With this physical body containing mind, intellect, etc., one can do sadhana. The food should be very pure. That is said in Bhagavad Gita, it may be sattvika, rasya snikidha sthira hridya ahara sattika priyaha, and it should be regulated. Yuktahara viharasya yukta chastasya karmasu, and it is strength is known as vidya dharana khyamata in Medhajanana Shukta of Atharva Veda. Mai evastu mai shrutam. What I am listening, it should be established within me. And in Ruk Pratisaksham it is Dharana Dhyana, and in Nirukta Sastra, Nirukta is a Vedanga, and it is idam vide, idam with, idam vidata, the capacity to acquire the knowledge. And it is also it is known as strength here. The greatness of a strength lies in this, that by strength does the world stand, the world stands. Then as strength comes from food, that is the next step is food. Food indeed is greater than power or strength, because from food one gets strength. Therefore, if one does not eat for 10 days or 15 days, he would not he would ordinarily die, or he would not able to speak, or therefore our sense organs or intellect or the internal organs work through food. Therefore, the purity of food is also described in this Upanishad in the last khanda. Then the food is not the ultimate. Food comes from water. Then the importance of water, one has to meditate upon water. Water is indeed greater than food, because when there will be no rain, there will be no sufficient food, and the beings will be in agony, and beings will be suffered in scarcity of food. But this rain also comes from fire. Then it is said that one should meditate upon fire. Fire indeed is greater than water. Fire creates water. The water of the earth are taken to the sky by the rays of the sun, and it creates cloud, and then after it rains. When thunderings go on along with lightnings flashing upwards and horizontally, people say it will rain. So water comes from fire. After that, all these things place in space. So space is greater than fire. In the Akasa subsist the sun, the moon, the lighting, the stars, the fire, everything. Therefore, this space one calls, in space one calls, one hears, that is Akasha. And one rejoices, everything is born and everything grows in space. Therefore, space, so one should meditate space as the Brahman. But if we do not have memory and all these things will be there, then nothing will happen. Therefore, memory is more powerful than all these things. Then the 13th step is memory. Memory or smaranam, memory is greater than space. Therefore, even when there would be many people, but there will be no memory, what will happen? One cannot hear, one cannot speak, one cannot think, or one cannot able to know. Through memory, one hears things, understands, knows, or recognizes, or anything. Still, this memory will not work if there will not be hope or asa. Hope is greater than memory. Ignited by hope only, memory works. Memory reads the mantras, performs the rites, desires sons, cattle, desires these worldly objects, or desires even the salvation. This asa, with this asa or hope, everything goes on. In literature, Kalidasa has very nicely wrote a line in Meghadutam, Asha Bandho, Kushumashadrusha Prayaso, Yangananam. That is another thing, but this asa means we wish something, we hope something, therefore we proceed to work. Then prana The final one is the prana, life force or breath we can say. This prana is greater than the hope. Just as the spokes of the wheel are fastened to the nave, so is everything of this world is fastened with this prana or the life force or life spirit. Prana moves the prana, prana gives the prana, means prana means here the jivatma. It gives the it generates another prana, means the atma means the atma gives us the atma gives us incentive to work all the organs. It is the main reason for which a living being is working or speaking or doing or all these things. Prana is the father, prana is the mother, all these things. Prana is the teacher, prana is the Brahma. Therefore, if anyone says anything harsh to father, mother, teacher, etc., people dislike him. When? Because we are identified with the atmas in our father, in mother, in our teacher, all these things. But when the vital breath departed from them, the body is burnt in the funerals. Atma, but there is a here the prana is identified with atman, but there is a slight difference between prana and atma, because it is described in Prashnopanishad that prana is originated and it is the shadow of atma. आत्मना एषः प्राणो जायते यथा ऐषा पुरुषोच्छाय एतस्मिन् एतत् आततं मनःकृतेन आयाति अस्मिन् शरीरे. Therefore, when a being and its shadow, when the being will be disappeared, then the shadow automatically will be disappeared. Likewise, when the atma departs the mortal body, prana automatically departed, becomes departed. Then again, in another step, it is said that truth and the consciousness or vijnana, the intellect or the mati, then faith or shraddha, then growing forth or nishtha, then action or kruti, and then the bliss or the ultimate bliss or sukham. Sukham is one can attain. And bliss is the infinite. Jo bhi bhuma tat sukham nalpe sukham asti. What is finite, that is not bliss, and which is infinite, that is bliss. And wherein one sees nothing else, hears nothing else, and understand nothing else, that is infinite, because no duality will be there. That is the ultimate state and that is the ultimate goal. Wherein something is there, that will be finite, and infinite is immortal and finite is mortal. To attain the infinite and immortality is the highest goal. In conclusion, the Upanishad presents in the words of Sanat Kumara a hierarchy of progressive meditation from outer worldly knowledge to inner worldly knowledge, from finite current knowledge to infinite blissful state. It is a stepwise journey of the self to infinite bliss. Paul Dawson, a German scholar, he has rightly said, it is magnificent, excellent in construction, and commands elevated view of a man's deepest nature, in his book The Philosophy of Upanishads. And secondly, the seventh chapter closes with the three-step concrete suggestions to attain the ultimate. It is said that in pure nourishment, ahara shuddho sattva suddhihi, in pure nourishment there is a pure nature. In ahara shuddho sattva suddhihi, and in pure nature the traditional doctrine becomes firmly fixed. Ahara shuddho sattva suddhihi sattva shuddho dhruva smritihi. In acquiring the traditional doctrine, there is a release from all the knots of the heart. Ahara suddho sattva suddhihi sattva suddho dhruva smritihi smritilambhe sarvagranthina vipramoksha mrudita kasayaya tamasasparam darshayati bhagavana Sanat Kumara. The Sanat Kumara shows the path to make ahara shuddhi. Ahara means it is not food only, it is the subjects of all our sense organs. It should be shuddha or pure, and then it makes the being pure, and then our the smriti will be fixed, or all the our past karmas karmas or bondages will be eradicated, and then we will be elevated from these worldly objects. That is the way Chandogya Upanishad describes about the step by step ways of ultimate goal. And it is the similar description is also found in Mundaka Upanishad. Vidyate hridaya granthi chindyante sarva samsayaha kshiyante chasya karmani tasmin druste parabare. And all these things such as from name to prana, all these points could be followed if followed, if not properly, still anyone tries to follow the path advised in this Upanishad may gain something in his life for the betterment of the society, and for the betterment of his own skill, his own being, and his own wellness, which can be an example. Thank you all. Thank you all the my all the organizers and Honorable Vice Chancellor Sir Sachidananda Mahapatra Sir, for giving me a chance to present something, to present my study and to express the points I have collected in a very few time. I am a student always, and all my revered teachers are here. So if anything mistake is there, it will be my fortune to be rectified. Thank you all. Namo Namaha. With my revered gratitude, I remain here. Pranamami.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, madam Poramba Jogomaya. There is no mistake at all. You spoke